18, plot 20.
Let's get dangerous.
Hey everybody, just wanted to give my 2 cents on the recent release of the Blue Beetle movie. I had an opportunity to watch this on Friday night, and I was going in a little apprehensive. I wasn't so sure how I felt about the movie. I actually didn't plan on even seeing it this soon, but the reviews kind of got me a little bit hyped. I did like the trailers, so I thought it looked good enough that I was interested in seeing it. My hesitation was the overwhelming amount of family vibe from this, and that's what I really didn't like about the Shazam movies. So I was afraid that I was going to feel that kind of dislike, like we lost too much of the superhero comic book story because we had so much family oriented stuff. But what I can say about the Blue Beetle movie is they do it right. As far as the family aspect, I thought they did a good job of kind of like not overdoing each individual family member. Maybe the Nana part was a little bit over the top for me. That's kind of runs through the movie, but then it has a payoff at the end and an explanation. Like she actually gets a little backstory reveal, very, very little, but then everything else that she does in the movie makes sense. So the best I can describe the family aspect of the movie, the family vibe, the family feel, was very similar to me in the recent Spider-Man animated Into the Spider-Verse, or whatever it was called, Across the Spider-Verse. Like that Miles Morales interaction with family, and that vibe, like family is strength, and just whatever. The only difference is here is like his Jaime Reyes secret identity isn't secret. There's no aspect of that in the movie. So this was directed by Angel Manuel Soda, and I for the 1,000 times I've heard his name pronounced, I'm gonna say it wrong. Exolo Maratuina. I'm just horrible with that. One other thing that was a little apprehensive for me was George Lopez. I can find him funny at times, but some of his comedy style doesn't land for me. I'm actually not a big comedy guy, but I definitely did have some laugh out loud moments where I actually laughed out loud with him. So even that worked. Like everything that I was a little apprehensive about actually worked. And I think that this was a really good origin story. Blue Beetle is one of those characters that's newer in the comic book lore, history, whatever. I'm familiar with the old, which would have been the second Blue Beetle, which was the Ted Cord. So when I was in the 80s reading comics as a little JLAmember, I was introduced to Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, and that's my Blue Beetle. The opening sequence of this movie is really neat, how they kind of do some history backstory through the credits. It's very low key, but there's things, headlines, newspapers, and if you read them and look at the pictures and things like that, like it gives like the whole kind of history of the Blue Beetle, including the original Dan Garrett, and there's mention of that throughout the movie. So I was really happy with that because it set, for me, right at the rip, like seeing the acknowledgement of the other characters and the history of the Blue Beetle really worked for me. Otherwise, all the acting's fine. I think Exolo as Jaime Reyes was pretty good. The character itself is a little aged up from what I thought I remembered about the character. I always thought it was more high school age, like 10th, 11th, 12th grade type thing, but this is college. He's 22, which is fine. It's fine. Hopefully, this will lead into a Teen Titans, something Titans in the future of the new DC universe. Just want to. Susan Sarandon was a little bit, uh, not a little bit, but she was a good. She was the good villain, and she has a henchman who becomes the big muscle, the big bad, the big fight scene with the Blue Beetle. That was all over the trailer. The trailers kind of gave a lot away, but also didn't. The movie had a lot in it, and it was pretty well paced. Um, I was actually happy with the pacing with this film. I knew going into, for those of you who may not have known, this was originally going to be a direct to stream on HBO Max movie, and then when they did their restructure, they said, let's go right to the theaters with this. So there are like a few minor parts where you can tell that the CGI maybe wasn't as polished or whatever. But for the most part, I thought this was really well done. I thought the action sequences and the like the very first transformation scene, which is also in the trailers, but there's like in the movie, it's very extended. I thought that was really cool. It was really well done. I thought all the interactions with the family and the chaoticness that was going on, and everybody's like going crazy. I thought it was all really well done. On IMDb, this is 6.9 right now, and on Rotten Tomatoes, that I don't look at very often, it has a 94% audience score. So it's doing really well. Be interesting to see coming out of the weekend what kind of numbers it has. There were so many projections that were lowballing and saying it was a train wreck, and then all of a sudden, like within a week, it kind of swerved, and it was like getting all these first reaction rave reviews. So it's hard to tell sometimes when that's like a campaign, but I think this movie is definitely worth watching. It's definitely a notch up for me in the movies that have been coming out on both sides, Marvel DC. Way, way better for me than the last Shazam movie. Even the first Shazam movie. I'm not I love the Shazam Captain Marvel character. I just did not like Zachary Levi in that role. But this, all the characters are good. I work in a very predominant Puerto Rican work environment, so like the Spanish and English back and forth conversation was kind of funny. I got a little bit of a kick out of that, like, oh, I'm used to that at work, like people go in and out of Spanish and English quite a bit where I work. But I would watch this again. I think it was good. Like I said, it's an origin story, but there's some fresh things in it, and people that are on the fence about, oh, it's another origin story movie, like, we really actually haven't had a superhero origin movie in a while. So like, I think Blue Beetle is a character that is good for this type of movie, and it really worked for me. I was glad that I did take the time to watch it this soon. I hope that you guys, if you saw it, enjoyed it. Leave some comments down below if you're on the fence or you're looking forward to it. If you saw it, leave some comments down below. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on this, in particular people that were on the fence. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great afternoon.